All right, everybody, welcome to Stone Cold Podcast. My name is Stone Cold Steve Austin. Happy Labor Day. I'm coming to you live from Baltimore, Maryland. I'm fixing to have a good time here on the podcast. And it's the funny thing, I always talk about Stone Cold's going to always ask the hard questions. I don't know about hard questions. I know we're going to have a good time because my guests today are Edge and Christian, two guys that I've gotten along with since day one when you guys walked in the door. But it's been a long time since I've seen your asses. So I want to take this time. First of all, guys, welcome to the show. It's good to see you.
Steve, thanks for having us.
Christian, that's a dummy mic. You just go ahead and sit up and just, you're already mic'd. That's a prop.
And he
called you that. Yeah.
Well, we heard that you had it down between Edge and Christian and Mantor, so we appreciate you having us on.
Here's the thing. Mantor,
a short list.
Yeah, he got held up at the border of the head. Yeah, long story. Yeah. So there's the whole thing with the kilo. Anyway. So here's the deal. So we've known each other forever. Now, sometimes I call you Ed, sometimes I'll call you Adam. I always call you Christian. Yep. But your real name is Jay. So what's the protocol here? Don't give that up?
It's too late now.
Okay. So how should I address you guys?
I answer to many things.
What do you like to answer to?
I ride a one-hump camel sometimes.
Couldn't afford the two-hump model?
Nope. So you could call me a one-hump camel rider.
One-hump camel.
It's pretty long. It's pretty wordy. It's tough to get out. So I'll go. You call me either Edge or Adam.
All right, Edge or Adam. And you're good with what?
You can call me.
Hit him.
What? You can call me Christian, or you can call me Jay, or you can just refer to me as the captain.
I'm going to call you a sumbitch, you keep it. So what do you prefer? All right, here we go. Hey, it's been a while since I've seen you guys. The last time we were all together, I think, was WrestleMania. What did we narrow it down to? 27 or 28?
I think it was 28. We sat together at 27.
Right. You and I got drunk at WrestleMania 30, and then I don't remember anything after that. But the last time the three of us together was been a while.
Yeah.
It was a while.
All right, so catch me up with what you guys are doing. What has happened in the last few years? Where are you at now? Because you're sitting here with me in Baltimore, Maryland, but you guys both have kids.
Yeah.
When y'all rolled into the WWE way back in the day, looking like rock stars with all that hair, do we have an image of these guys when they rolled in with all the hair? I got to show a picture of this stuff.
Am I wearing guy liner in this?
You went from this long-haired look into this manicure.
You like this?
Yeah, dude. I mean, you got the manscaped
hipster look.
Got a little bit of a hipster.
Yeah,
I'm going for hipster casual. I got my little buttons here.
Yeah.
You surprised me with the rhinestone button-up shirt.
Yeah. I take chances, Steve.
Take chances?
Yeah.
What? Look at this.
Whoa!
Look at the kid there. Yeah, look at that. Yeah.
Look at that. Look at that middle chest definition. When I wore that shirt, I just
that's all
dude,
good oil.
That's definition right there.
He would just shave that.
Two good-looking guys. You look like rock stars there.
Yeah.
That's what we're
Now
known
you
for.
look like responsible human beings.
Well, we are fathers.
I mean, technically.
Okay, well, tell me how that
is.
is.
It's great.
Well, here's the deal. We had our daughters 6 weeks apart from each other, and we had no idea. I was standing in a hotel. I was standing in a bathtub in a hotel in New York, looking at the Empire State Building. I was there doing a sci-fi up front presentation, and that's the only place I could see the towers. I was like,
did you have clothes on?
I did have clothes on.
Okay, so
I wasn't taking a bath.
You were just
I wasn't showering. I was just staring.
Yeah.
It was a good view. And I called Jay, and I was like, well, guess what? We're having a baby. And there was this long silence, and I was like, oh, what? And he goes, we are too. And I swear it wasn't like we timed it and said, okay, you ready? Let's go.
Yeah.
Right.
We just, was that too much?
And I think it was your mom that said, can you guys do anything on your own? You know what I mean?
It's just the way it worked out, and our daughters are at the same point, and they're friends, and with FaceTime and everything now, she's always saying, Uncle Jay, Uncle Jay, Uncle Jay. So it's
I'm over.
Yeah,
you're over.
Pretty over.
So, and you're living where?
Asheville, North Carolina.
Out of all the places, you're from Canada, both of you guys, you end up in Asheville, North Carolina.
Well, one of the luxuries of the gig was you got to see every city in the world.
Right.
So I would pay attention, especially as I knew I was getting closer to retirement. I was like, okay, Florida's not it for me. I'm not a Florida guy, but I stayed there, the no state tax, all that stuff.
What bugs you about Florida?
The heat.
Gotcha.
I'm Canadian. I need seasons. I sweat a lot. I can't take my skin off when it gets hot. I can put clothes on, though.
Right.
So that was my theory. I narrowed it down to Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Asheville. And Asheville was still close enough that the family could drive. East Coast still in the mountains. and you gotta fly over our house to see it.
Okay, so then, with respect to the family, having a kid, was it some planned attempt or just something that happened?
We pulled the goalie, and so we pulled the goalie and went over.
He shoots, he scores.
And I scored. My boys can swim.
Boy, did you score. So, boy or girl?
Little girl.
Little
named
girl.
Lyric Rose Copeland. And, man, she's already got delts. She's already moving furniture. The kid's going to be a world beater.
I'm going to write a song about your daughter.
You are.
See what I did there? Lyric
Well done.
song? Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
That was
There you go. Jay, talk to me. How'd you end up where you at?
What you mean as far as living situation?
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
No, I'm in Tampa, Florida. I've been there for since 2001, so it's been a long time. And we got same thing. Canadian, got tired of the cold, moved down to the warmth of Florida. And actually, my wife is actually getting her PhD at the University of Florida. So we're kind of there for the next few
What's she
years.
getting a PhD in?
Art history. And she has a full scholarship there, so it's.
So then, what would she go out and do with that illustrious degree?
She would probably be an art appraiser or something to that effect.
So if I
maybe a
draw a
professor,
picture, she can tell me how much it is not worth.
She could. Yeah. She's smarter than you or I. So.
All right, you
Smarter
guys.
than me?
Yes, fortunately.
He didn't include me, so I thought maybe I was smart.
Yeah. We got to make sure this is all inclusive.
Very good.
You guys have been away from the business for quite some time, and how did you adjust? I always call it going back to being a civilian. So how was the adjustment for you guys to leave the squared circle and get away from the grind of the travel and adjust to normal life?
Yeah, I mean it's you're used to going all the time, right? So it's like weeks kind of bleed into each other at times. So it's like you're home, you do your laundry, you pack up, you head back out.
Dude, you put the suitcase by the washing machine.
You don't even
It's
does
the
it
same clothes.
Yeah, so it becomes a routine. So you're used to it. But when you are supposed to decompress from that almost, it's like kind of like a little bit of culture shock. Like you really don't know what to do with yourself. So it's I was always in my wife's way. She was like, God, just go out and do something. Try to
What did you go do?
Well, luckily I had a friend that had a TV show that put me on it. So so I went up and I actually got busy doing.
Do you have any hobbies in the occupy? Because as long as I've known you, I just never knew that.
Yeah, I'm a hell of an Amway salesman. I got a great Amway.
Making money on the side.
Yeah,
making money up in this mug.
Yeah, I'm also a very well respected hockey fantasy general manager. So I mean, I got a lot of things on my plate, and plus, it lets me do things like this, like the Stone Cold podcast, and this is probably going to be so entertaining. They're probably going to want to give Edge and Christian their own network show. So who knows? We'll see what happens.
Oh, he's going into business for us.
Yeah.
So what about your adjustment to life off of the road?
Honestly, I was ready. Come on. I was.
Dude, you retired at 37.
I did.
You were ready then? I mean, you had damn near a 20-year career.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
So, I started when I was 17, and it's all I wanted to do, ever. There was no other aspirations. It was WWE, and that was it. There was no other focus. From the time I was 9 years old, that was it. So when it's all encompassing and all everything like that, I think I was ready. I had a year left on my deal when I had to retire, and I figured after that year that was going to be it. And I was already, had the Asheville house. Mentally, I was still working hard and still trying to work the Zigglers and the Del Rios and try and put them over and teach them and guide them along and everything. But I was trying to lay the groundwork for SmackDown so that I could go.
But once you get out of the grind, I mean, for me, man, it was always about when I went down with the neck surgery, I had to just get in my truck and drive someplace to feel like I was going somewhere. Hell, I mean, I was going to just get a double cheeseburger, but I'd drive back and it'd be like a 100-mile round trip. But that was therapeutic for me. And it took me a long-ass time to get used to not being caught up in, the grind and in the hustle.
Well, one of the things that unbeknownst to me, and it fell in my lap and it was great, is that the Haven producers saw my retirement speech. And they said, we'd like to get him for the show. Because initially, I was just going to grow the beard, and that was it. I was just going to figure it out. And just sit.
They saw your retirement speech and said, hey, we got to check this guy out, see what he can do on screen.
Yeah.
And they saw my induction speech and said, we got to have him too.
Yeah. And that's how you got the gig?
That's how I got the gig. They called me and said, would you like to come up to Halifax for one episode? And we did the deal, the pay-per-view, where Jay won the World Heavyweight Championship. I flew from there right up to Halifax.
And that was a shoot when you won it.
It was.
Yeah, that was all real emotion and everything.
Yeah.
That was, but it from there, it was up to Halifax. Did the one episode, turned into 40.
And there we are.
Yeah.
All right, the Stone Cold Podcast, I asked a hard-hitting questions here, and I don't mean to get real personal with you guys, but I mean, I got to do this or it ain't going to be Stone Cold Podcast. I got a serious question for you now. We've kind of loosened the atmosphere. We've gotten to know each other. Now, we were laughing like a bastard before the show went on air. Then Jay got tightened up over there. You okay now?
I'm good.
Sometimes when a guy gets lost in the ring, you grab a headlock on him. But you grab a headlock on him, settle him down. I got a serious question for you guys. I've seen you guys do a lot of badass stuff on when you guys were together as tag, and you guys one of the greatest tag teams in the history of WWE. But serious question, would you do me a favor?
Sure.
Could you? Would you?
Got that?
Grab a headlock?
Play my theme song, these here kazoos. I always watched some stuff you guys did on YouTube, and y'all was irritating the hell out of Triple H. You was playing Kurt Angle's theme song, y'all played y'all's theme song, and then you were doing all this stuff. It was absolutely ridiculous. Would you do me the honors?
Yeah, but I got a little proposition for you.
Oh, what you got?
Wait. Well,
Just a little proposition.
I'm not
since we're talking about music here, we'll play the kazoos if you do us a little solid. And do the old
Well, kumbaya.
little kumbaya.
On your end.
maybe a little Rick Astley too, huh?
I tell you what, as the host of this show, basically, I'm immune to any ribs. But because you guys are so damn cool and we go so far back, I'll go along with you. Y'all are some sorry SOBs.
So
I got a turn.
It's supposed to be my dog-ass police. Or y'all got to do my theme song first.
All right.
me.
Ready?
Da-da-da-da-da.
It's going to be tough to top.
I got to ask you guys a question. Did you ever think that a kazoo would give you guys the break that it gave you to break into some of the outlandish BS comedy that you guys are doing? Because that was, I mean, I got to watch my language parameters here, but it's hard to talk about y'all's act without cussing because it was such outlandish stuff, and I'm using that S word stuff, but it was awesome.
I wish I had known before I spent thousands and thousands of dollars on flashy tights, outfits, glasses, hats, and I could have went to the store and bought one of these
All
for $2.
the training, all the bugs, all the scientific stuff, the years and years of building up a psychology base to maneuver and manipulate a crowd, and all it was going to take was a plastic-ass kazoo.
You know what it was? We're just having fun.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that always translates to people.
I think when made Edge and Christian it was the stuff that before we really started talking, we were in the Brood, we were kind of, we were dark, mysterious, we didn't really talk that much. So when we were in the car driving, killing time between towns, we would just
Heaven forbid.
having fun.
And talk about killing time between the towns.
Just riff.
Just
Right.
just spitball. Just
So what did y'all
stuff.
do? Y'all go up the creek. You mind if I take this damn thing
Oh,
off?
man, you're going to try and get out of playing
I
kumbaya. I knew where you go.
Did y'all pitch the kazoo idea through the office?
I know. I actually think somebody just randomly had one, and we're just like, we're going to use that, and we just kind of used it in a backstage segment, and it just kind of went from there.
And we used to sit around with Brian Gewirtz, and we'd just throw words out.
Right.
Nonsensical, darkitude, dark chop. What does that even mean?
Right.
But it would make us laugh. So
Right.
I thought, okay, if it's making us laugh, then
that was the whole.
That's ridiculous.
Dude, I mean, it's not like Yul Brynner-esque. You're an actor. Is this?
Oh, yeah?
This like Western mode. If I wore it like a
believe it.
rhinestone.
If you're on a one-hump camel, I would believe it.
Well, see, the problem with this thing is it's totally out of tune. But because I'm going to participate on this, I would bust into a solo, but I've probably warmed up.
Got it out?
This is right from El Corazon. That's Spanish for the heart, in case you people out there don't know.
Corazon.
El Corazon. You speak Spanish?
No.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
See.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Yeah.
I probably should.
Poquito. That's Spanish. It doesn't make sense. Anyway. Kumbaya, my lord. Kumbaya.
Come on, this.
Kumbaya, my lord. Kumbaya.
That was good.
Kumbaya. God, enough of that. I lived up to my end of the rib, okay? Throw that thing out here.
So
I got a question for you. Twitter question here.
Whoa.
Now we're getting serious.
I like that you guys' thoughts. You guys were a heavy-duty tag team, and a hell of a tag team at that. Twitter question is your thoughts on the tag team division today. You guys both keep in touch with what's going on Monday Night Raw,
Yep.
SmackDown.
Yep.
Let's talk about the current tag team situation because it interests me very much because I love to watch tag team wrestling because of the interesting dynamics. When you have four individuals, I like to stick to a traditional tag. Let's leave out the six. Four guys in the ring, so many things can happen.
Tag team always has a special place in our heart because it put us on the map.
Right.
And I think it just got turned up a notch here with the Dudleys coming back.
I was so happy to see that.
I
Come
agree.
back. Yeah.
Like it was the first time in a while where I kind of welled up a bit. I was like, man, I was so happy for them.
And this is their home. They went where they went, and they came back, and this is where they belong.
Yeah.
And I think the Hall of Fame will call those guys one day down the road.
Yeah.
But
the New Day, they're on fire right now. I think I'm happy for those guys to be able to step up and do that.
But for a while, it seemed like the tag team division kind of dried up.
Right.
And that really kind of just it pissed me off because I'm such a big fan. And for such a long time back in the day, you had established teams that were around for so long.
Right. Yeah.
There were true teams. It's not like throwing two guys together and calling it a tag team, much less a match, because of the dynamics that go on in the ring.
Well, back Hollywood Blondes, you guys became a tag team. You guys got matching stuff and everything, and you did team moves and everything, and that changes the dynamic instead of just two guys thrown together, and that is so key. And we were Edge and Christian, but we looked at ourselves as a tag team, and we knew that was where we had to cut our teeth to make it, because guys like you, guys like Rock were on fire, and we knew, okay, we got this over here. This is where we gotta grind this up. I think it goes through peaks and valleys, and I think it's a shame when it does, because like you said, I think tag teams are a special thing that you can make completely different than a singles match.
But you guys are watching the scene currently, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
well then let's talk about the inner workings, because when I'm watching a tag match, I go back. One of my favorite tag teams of all time, well, several of them, Ole and Arn Anderson, and they were famous for cutting off the ring.
Yeah.
Also throughout Rock and Roll Express and Midnight Express are the greatest of all time. And, we hear, you mention Legion doing the Road Warriors. But with respect to once the bell rings and you start the action, you cut off the ring. You keep that opponent on your side. In the WWE, there's tag ropes. When you're there, you can utilize those tag ropes as an offensive weapon. Drawing a referee, a blind tag, a false tag. So much of that, because the tag situation here is very young, I think a lot of those missing components, I miss them because I know that they're not being utilized. Do you feel the same way?
Well, there's little things. Never shoot your opponent toward one of the two corners where the tag team partner's standing.
Right.
Always keep them on that side. Shoot them that way. Things like that. But I do think guys like the Dudleys being back, that is so beneficial.
Yeah.
To just be able to remind everybody of those tiny things, because there were peaks and valleys, and it was a bit of a valley, so it can get forgot, because the art of it can get, it's just four guys thrown together. I think now, thankfully, there's tag teams again, proper tag teams.
Exactly.
Just a few months ago, you had Harper and Rowan. They were tearing it up with the Usos.
Yeah.
Who,
right.
I was like, wow, we could see a resurgence here.
The
The
Usos,
tag teams,
man,
it was really good.
And Harper, you put him in any tag team, that dude is.
And I like,
that dude's money.
Yeah, I like him a lot too.
And down in NXT, there's a couple kids, Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson. They're cutting the ring off. They're Arn and Tully. They're Gene and Ole.
Right.
And they're Bockwinkel and Stevens. That's what they're doing. No nonsense.
Right.
Old satin jackets with the two stripes.
Yeah, but
I'm a fan of that.
it's also utilizing that referee, because a lot of people don't understand how important that referee is in a match, much less a single, but specifically a tag match, and drawing that referee to, as a heel team, to get the upper hand and not put the heat on the referee. And again, going back to your statement, I'm hoping that that's what the Dudleys bring because of their experience. And you guys had 1 million matches with them, and we're going to get to some more of those matches as y'all stepped up the level of danger here in a little bit. But that referee is a huge part of a tag match.
Yeah. Well, you can. They're one of the puzzle pieces, and you can use all of those elements. But the key is, like you said, not getting the heat on the ref.
Right.
Because then what do you get out of it?
You ain't getting nothing. He's got to go to you.
Yeah.
So if he looks dumb, then you basically missed the boat and shot yourself in the foot.
Yeah. And I'm excited about watching it again because I really enjoy when tag team matches are done right. Like you said, it can just be so many different things.
What was the deal with you guys? Would one of you go in there and set the pace for the other, set the tone? I mean, for Brian and I, when we were the Hollywood Blondes, I mean, if Brian tagged in, if I saw where he was going, I'd go right there with him. Or if I said, hey, I think we ought to go this way, I'd change things up. Who was the go-to guy as far as, who's going to lead this match when you guys went to the ring?
Man, the one thing I will say about our team is that we were truly a team.
Right.
Like when we went to the war room to, spit ideas for TLC matches and everything. It was Bubba, it was Matt, it was both of us.
Right.
And that's not throwing anybody out. That's just the way it was.
Right.
We truly came packed with all kinds of stuff in our head.
But was that because you guys were such a good team? But let's go to how long you guys have been friends.
Yeah, I mean, we grew up together, so it's
you guys 41 years old, but you've known each other since you were 6 years old. Right. 35 years, you've been together than many married couples.
Yeah, I think that we knew without looking at each other.
Right there.
Yeah. Is that the Gene Simmons stuff?
That's Nikita Koloff.
Nikita Koloff, yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Man, that's not a great picture.
How did you guys meet? You got a big-ass playground in Canada. Was you running each other or what?
Don't look at me.
How long?
6 seconds.
Ooh.
6 seconds. Folks, what has just happened is we used to always play this game. And then I was going to bring this up later on that. Look at you now. A lot of times when Christian and Edge and I would get together, we'd just sit there and talk just like this. And for some reason, don't look at me.
How long?
2 seconds. It's a podcast.
We're talking about killing time on the road, and it was
a lot of times, guys standing around the locker room, and a lot of times I was talking to Bubba Ray Dudley today, and it'd be me, Bubba, and Chris Jericho, who's a musical knowledge trivia genius,
right.
Talking about music. And one of the things we created was this game where we're just sitting there having a conversation, talking about what's ever going on the road, shooting angles, talking about the booking, how good or bad the house was, and we invented the Don't Look at Me game. Who in the hell, you're taking over my podcast, who invented the game? Did you or did I?
I think
you.
I'm pretty sure you did.
I'm pretty sure it was just one of your off-the-cuff things. We just looked at one of us and said, don't look at me. And then we just kind of looked away, and then you gave us a time, and then it was like,
oh.
So then it kind of became a running thing where we just, in the middle, I remember when we were on Raw, and I don't know if you remember this, but we were tying you to the Undertaker's cross.
Yeah.
And we were tying you up, and you were
That's
screaming.
A real serious moment.
You were screaming and yelling, and I just
serious.
And I went, and you're looking at Steve. Don't look at me. And you bastard. You turned your head. How long? And you were I was like,
when someone pulls a rib on you while you're shooting a major angle, that takes a lot of guts right there.
And not just a tiny angle on the show, like the angle.
The big angle. I'm hanging up on a cross. I was worried that night. I told the guys I kept pulling on those chains. I was checking out the chains. I was like, dude, I said, when you get this thing up there, I said, these things will hold the cross. Because I was like, man, they're not, Undertaker's not kind enough to put me in a motorcycle helmet in case this thing comes down. So I was worried about that, and you're over pulling a rib on me. But hey, so how well do you guys know each other?
We met because of a Ninja Star. He had moved to my town from his even smaller town, and he was new. He had like these high tops on and like rugby pants and a football jersey that was like cut up with a T-shirt underneath and like sweatbands.
Like total chick magnet.
I was pretty ahead of my time as far as fashion went at that point. So
chicks in New York were paying top dollar for that stuff.
Now, it wasn't a pretty sight, but he had a Ninja Star.
Yeah.
And
what was it about that Ninja Star?
Nobody had one.
Karate Illustrated. You remember that magazine?
No, dude, I didn't dig the Ninja Star. I like watching Bruce Lee throw that stuff, but
I've ninjas were kind of a thing for the tabby boots and everything. Right. And then you had Steamboat when he first came in as the ninja with the tabby boots. So it was kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So you caught up.
Yeah, and he was probably the only cat in school. Were you popular?
Oh, I wasn't because I was new in the school,
right?
And I didn't have any friends. So I was just kind of by myself at recess one day, and I was kind of looking at it, and he was like, what's that? So it's a ninja throwing star. You just throw it at trees and it sticks in the tree. So
I know what it was.
You want to try it? So he, threw it, and then like next thing, all the kids are over there. I'm like, yeah, I'm thinking about selling it, and I start this like kind of bidding thing, and everyone's kind of coming to me on the side, like, hey, if I give you this, and I was like, well, I'm gonna have a bunch of people over at my house later, and we're just gonna throw it at the tree. So I had like next thing you know, didn't know anybody. Next thing I have like 10 kids in my backyard, and they're all throwing stuff. But then I took it off the market after.
Yeah, but that is
he reneged.
Yeah.
He said he was going to sell it to me, and then he reneged, and I was like, but in all of that, we found out we both love wrestling.
Right. And so you started watching at a young age, and you did too?
Yep.
Yeah, I was actually playing.
Growing up at the time, who was the hot wrestler, and who was your favorite?
Man, it was Hogan.
Okay, you?
Same. Yeah.
Okay, then if we were kind of trying to do like a reverse deal of the newlywed game, and Christian, I had to ask you, since you guys know each other so well, what is Edge's favorite arena to wrestle in?
I would say, don't look at me.
How long?
6 seconds.
6 seconds. Dude, it's a podcast. I got to break the rules. Pick the arena.
I would say the Allstate Arena in Chicago.
Is he right?
Yeah.
Okay, what's his favorite arena?
Allstate Arena.
Is that true?
Yeah.
That's my favorite, but I don't call it Allstate Arena. That's the Rosemont Horizon, right?
Horizon.
Dude, almost
yeah.
anybody that really knows the business loves the Rosemont Horizon, Allstate Arena in Chicago. Yeah. Okay, now I loved it for it's like a wooden ceiling, the acoustics and the rowdy ass fans. Yeah. That's why I loved it. What was the reason you guys dug it?
Same thing.
Sound.
Just the vibe, the atmosphere was just like you felt like the audience is right on top of you. It's just
and the Garden Special, MSG, and I love the Houston Summit back in the day, but there's something about Rosemont Horizon because of acoustics. And anybody that's really doing it right or paying attention in the business of pro wrestling, okay, here's a question for you before I go on with the newlywed. Are you a pro wrestler or a sports entertainer?
Pro wrestler.
Pro wrestler.
Pro wrestler. Okay, but anybody who's in this business, you're paying attention to the crowd because you're using that crowd noise to make your decisions.
Yep.
If you ain't, you're doing something wrong.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, back to the thing. Edge, what is Christian's favorite match?
You better not get this one wrong.
Whew. Oh! Randy Orton SummerSlam.
Is he right?
He's not right.
Okay, what's your favorite match?
Us Toronto ACC.
No.
What is it?
It was the ladder match against Alberto Del Rio when I first won the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, I shouldn't know that.
Okay, I want to get those ladder matches here in a little bit. What would Edge's favorite match be?
I would say
in general.
I would say when he main evented WrestleMania against The Undertaker.
A heavy duty moment.
Yeah.
Was that your crowning achievement?
I think so. I know so.
Was it because that you felt validated at that time?
Without a doubt. I felt validated by Taker. I felt validated by the company. I felt validated by the audience. I felt like I belong here. I deserve to be here. Earned it. And I'm coming out last, and Taker's in the ring, and I was going down, and I was losing feeling in my arms. I was so amped.
Right.
I mean, it's just one of those moments you can never. If you could bottle it, man, you'd be rich.
Yeah. Back in the day, I'd like to ask you guys most embarrassing moment in the ring because mine happened live on pay-per-view. It was in Minneapolis, St. Paul, whatever. I think it was a triple threat match. Myself, Triple H, Mankind, and Jesse the Body Ventura was a special referee, or he was the referee outside the ring. Someone else was out there. I can't remember what happened. During the match, Shane comes down, and he gets too close to the ring, so I go to push him. Now, I'm standing on the bottom rope, and when I go to push him, he moves back, and I go upside down, and I'm hanging in the ropes upside down. I can't get up. And so I'm yelling, Mick. Well, Mick can't hear me because he got one ear. And so then I'm yelling, Jesse, and Jesse's over doing his strut, trying to get his stuff in by running Shane off. And then Triple H, I can't yell at Triple H, tell me, because he's the heel. And so, finally he sees that we can't continue the match unless he turns me upright. So there's no reason logically for Triple H to save me, but he does. And when he does, we automatically start fighting, and we go to the ground. And I'm a slew of cuss words. I'm going, God. And I was mad as a hornet. Now, what's your most embarrassing moment in the ring?
I can tell you what almost was. Wrestling.
What do you mean what almost was?
Well, I almost bacon stripped my tights, man. I mean, it was close.
Explain a bacon strip.
Well, I did a bulldog off the top
Gotcha.
rope, and I went, okay, that could have been very bad in white tights.
Was that on white tights?
Yeah, pay-per-view. Yeah, it was a cage
What
match
prevented
against the
this from
Hardys.
happening?
I just clenched as much as I
So
could.
you're good in the clinch.
Apparently.
Swing for
Okay.
shrink.
And for you?
Off the top of my head, it was probably during the Invasion pay-per-view.
Right.
And we were in a tag team match, and we used to do this move where Adam would drop down to all fours, and I would run and jump off his back. And,
Yeah, good stuff.
But we were like, this time, like, hey, we're going to kick it up a notch here. You do it, I'm going to jump off of your back, and I'm going to go over the ropes and land on these guys on the floor. So, sure enough, here we are. Crowd is going crazy. And run.
Banana.
You're going banana.
Yeah, going banana.
Pat
So I,
Patterson.
I step on his back, and his back is complete sweat. And
factor that.
Finally, you
slide.
sweated during the match.
I actually dropped.
My knees hit the top rope, and I just missed both guys, and I completely flipped over and landed and they're both just standing there. I'm like staring at me, like, what's this guy trying to do? It was
It's Lance.
Yeah.
So Lance is like, what just happened there?
If we can be serious here for just one moment.
Hey, Lance.
How do you cover a botch like that? What'd you do?
I think honestly, I probably. I don't
think
even
you
remember.
got up and
I think I was
started
good. Yeah, I just got up and fought. So,
Oh, that's going to leave a mark. All right, I don't normally go to video footage. I want to show you some video footage of some TLC matches. Some of the craziest, most outlandish, wonderful, creative, dangerous stuff I've ever seen. Roll the footage up here. Dude, you kidding me? Dude, this is absolutely crazy right here. Yep. If they got the one, Edge, you're on the top of, Christian, you're on top of the ladder here, and you go sideways.
that's always fun.
Maybe that ain't good for anybody.
It's this one. Not Jeff was out for a little bit there.
Was he?
Yeah. It's miraculous.
Okay,
This is it?
Crazy here. This. Oh! This is awesome here. The timing with the forward swing by Jeff. There.
That's classic.
Dude, if you'd have over-rotated and his head planted.
That's the thing. In these matches, the margin for error is so small.
Okay, so man, I was starting to, talk, do my research and watch you guys' body of work, read all about you, and I've known you forever. But then I started researching ladder matches, and I knew that they were doing ladder matches in the 70s in World of Sport in England. But the TLC match, was that invented, in the WWE? Because y'all were in one.
Yeah, I think it was.
What, 99?
Yeah, it was the first. Technically, the first one, was WrestleMania 16.
Dubbed the
Dude,
triangle
that was
ladder.
off the charts.
It was a
16
triangle ladder
If you got the WWE Network, go to, or wherever you can find it, go to watch the ladder match at WrestleMania 16 is absolute insanity. It is an absolute incredible match.
That was our. We had a blank canvas, and we didn't have any kind of restraints, and I don't think anybody really fully knew what was going to happen.
I think that was when I was out getting my neck fused, and so I missed that. But what order of the card were you guys on?
Probably
We're-
towards the middle. I would think.
Yeah, we're middle to late.
Yeah.
How did anybody follow that?
I think they put the girls on.
Okay, now in 17, I was going to main event against The Rock. We had a hell of a match. You guys had a crazy TLC match, which was outstanding and extremely dangerous, and highly regarded by all of the people in the wrestling industry. How do you go about, setting, up some of these gigs or gags or whatever you want to call them? Because your first one or two, you start getting some experience. And Edge, you've been in 7, you're 5-2. You've been in 4, you're 2-2. Your record. But all of a sudden, man, you wrestle for a while. It's on-the-job training. It's repetition. You don't get a whole lot of repetition here, and you don't go out and just rehearse this stuff How do you go about deciding where to draw the line from a danger factor? Because any one of these matches at any point could have been the end of your career.
Right. I think what we learned from them was there's a real risk of them just becoming a spectacle, where it's just a car crash. And after the first couple, we tried to figure out how to insert psychology and make them tell a story and make sense of why and when we were doing certain things, and you get more mileage out of it that way rather than just doing things for the sake of throwing them out there.
I mean, it was always going to be a tornado in the trailer park, just because by its very nature, that's what it is. And you have to bring that because that's what people are expecting after the first one. So we kind of set the bar, and it's like, okay, each time it felt like it was getting upped and upped and upped, and it was finally in Houston where I think was the first time we were all sitting in the war room, we're up in a suite, and we started butting heads, and it was the first time. And I think it was purely like we got to top it, and now this is WrestleMania,
right?
And we got to live up to what we've done already,
right?
I feel like we did, but it was getting tougher and tougher physically too, honest. And the fact that Bubba mentioned it today, there was only one visible thing that ever went awry during those matches, and it was during 17 when Jeff tried to walk across.
Yeah.
That was the only time you actually know. It's like, okay, that didn't go according to plan.
Right. But he covered for it by going back up, and then the ladder pull, and then the spear.
Happened.
Yeah.
So, and that was, just didn't think about it, and tried to corral him, keep him as safe as possible. It was
okay.
But the margin for
error. But you're in 7 of them. You're in 4 of them. So what are you thinking? Okay, hey, we want you to be in a TLC match. Well, first of all, what is one? And you find out what it is. And now you've been in. Okay, say you're in your 3rd or 4th one. Okay, when first of all, you're happy to be booked on a card, especially in a prime spot, and get a chance to raise your value with the company, where you're thinking, holy smokes, this is a great opportunity, but don't really care to take the risk. Where were you at on that?
I think that we were willing to take the risk for the reward, which was...
Was the reward worth it?
Well, I think so. And I think it put us all on the map, catapulted us. It kept us, on a very good place on the card. And, our goal going into those matches was basically we knew we weren't going to be the main event, but we wanted to be the match that everybody was talking about when the show was over. That was our goal. That was our mindset.
And that should be everybody's goal.
Oh, it always is.
Yeah.
I mean, I always figure, man, no matter where you're on the card, and you have to know your role on the card, but then with respect to that top half of the card, if you ain't, in the main event, you're trying to blow the main event out of the water, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Before we move on, we have to at least just mention you guys were just, awesome, unbelievable in these matches and fearless and, damn near crazy. But we've got to say a word or two about the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys. Or, those guys, I mean, to me, y'all were just the perfect, 6 guys to go out there and do these kind of matches.
It was a perfect storm.
And talk about trust, because you're literally trusting your life with these cats. And you guys, to me, the timing, the execution, you were taking care of each other.
Well, just with that spear alone, just that one move, the small over rotation and under rotation, you land lower back first.
Right.
Man. And so we definitely, and we always felt like, okay, I'll pay you back for that one. You hit me with something,
right.
Vice versa, things like that. But I always said that if we were the Muhammad Ali,
right.
kind of the cocky heel, the Hardys were Frazier,
right.
and the Dudleys were Foreman.
Right.
Or, you needed us to be the, antagonists. The Hardys were the rock stars. The Dudleys would get that guttural diaphragm reaction.
Yeah. Last question about the TLC type stuff. How would you feel the next day?
Sore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
remember after the very first one, I was like, I think I'm going to go to the gym just to see what I can do. And I think I picked a set of dumbbells up and I put them down. Like I literally had a hole in my arm from when Jeff Hardy jumped off the top rope and then he teeter-tottered and the ladder came up and I had my arm and literally had a hole like from a screw in my arm,
right.
And it's like it was just your body is just in pain.
And it wasn't even so much the next day as the day after that.
Yeah. It's kind of like working out the first day you get sore, but then the next day that's whenever it sets in.
Yeah.
Hey, when you first rolled into WWE, they were doing these kind of vignettes as dark, brooding character. But back before that, you were a cat named Sexton Hardcastle. Tell me a little bit about Sexton Hardcastle.
Sexton.
What in the hell did it? Because everybody, you know, when you come up with your first gimmicks, they're like kind of cheesy. One of my gonna be names was gonna be Samson St. Clair. J. Brone written all over it. Right there alongside of Sexton Hardcastle.
Man, that would have been a good tag team.
Yeah, we'd have been great. Chicks would have dug us.
I actually wore a mask and was known as the male nurse for a little bit.
Were you?
That's true. Yeah.
Yep.
Is that a true story?
Yeah.
Totally.
Really?
He wore the
smock
nurse's
and
scrubs.
So what was Sexton Hardcastle?
Sexton
Like a heartthrob?
Hardcastle, that was the idea.
Right. So, when you came to WWE and as Edge, describe to me who and what Edge was.
I had no idea. And that was the hardest part. I assumed that getting to the WWE would be the hard part, but man, it was once I got here, I was like, whoa, okay, this is
Right.
real. If I ever want to try and make it up there, I really got to do some stuff here and break out of my shell
Right.
and figure out what this character is, because I had no idea. Initially, it was pitched to me to recite poetry and kind of, you know, wear leather pants and an open shirt with chains. Like, I got the creative drawing,
Right.
and it was like,
That's what you wear around.
that's what I normally wear.
Right.
You do wear that.
Day at the office, but I didn't want to wear. I wanted to be a wrestler,
Right.
so I wanted to at least have the tights and all of that. But I still didn't know what Edge was. So I just when I blanked, I go and scream.
So then, at its core, then who was Edge?
At that point, I have no
No,
idea.
now. I mean, looking back.
A confused
lost and
kid
scared.
trying to figure out how to make his way in this business.
Then what do you think got the crowd to identify with you? Because in this business, you come in, you try to get over, and that's to establish a relationship with the crowd. As a heel, you want them to hate you. As a babyface, to love you, or to find something within you that they care about, whether you rub them the wrong way.
I think it was when I came in, and then we formed the Brood.
Brood.
And then we had that awesome entrance with the music, the
It was the
fire,
cool
Gangrel.
factor.
Yeah, and it was kind of a cool, like, Lost
Gangrel
Boys
had
type
the cup,
thing, and it was,
blood.
you know, the whole
It was
vibe of it
cool.
was, yeah, it was cool.
And I remember that. And it was a badass entrance, and
Right.
it was good music.
Right.
And
So-
props
Jim Johnston.
to Gangrel too, because he was a veteran. So
Right.
if we needed to earn our chops with the APAs of the world, with the DOAs of the world, with the huge tag teams that were having to
Right.
work, well, Dave had been around,
Yeah.
so he brought an element of cred to us instead of just these two kids from Canada that maybe we don't want to bump for.
Right.
So that was huge for us, and he made a huge difference. And that's when we first started going, okay, we're on to something here. And even now, I'm like,
Yeah.
bobbing it, the music's in my head.
I've been watching you guys all day. Here and there we'd see each other, and you guys have been like a kid in a candy store. How does it feel to be back? Because you both look excited. You're smiling. You're seeing all your buddies. You got a chance to see the Dudleys. I was happy to see the Dudleys, but I get a chance to come every month. Fun to be back. Do you yearn for it?
I can't say I yearn for it.
Right.
It's good in bursts.
Right.
It's good to come back, see everybody, but it's good to get home to baby.
What about you?
Yeah, I know. I like coming in and talking to all the guys, especially the younger guys, and kind of get a feel for what they're going through. Because we went through all that. We were the young guys at one point that came in, and we're looking for a little veteran leadership. So you just kind of give them some positive reinforcement and talk to them about the things that's going on.
How competitive was it for you guys as a tag team? As you're basically one of the most, if not the most decorated, WWE superstar of all time, with all of your singles titles, tag titles, and Kristen with the Hell Aces run too. How competitive was it for you guys to be the best of friends, damn near brothers for all practical purposes, as far as the accolades, the everything that everybody was going for, championship belts, success?
Are you saying that he's better than me?
That's what I'm asking you. Did you feel it was better than you?
No. Here's the thing, and that's we were Edge and Christian, probably one of the greatest tag teams in the history of the WWE, and so but that is going to work. So in that respect, we're always going to be connected together. So if you take that out of the equation and you put our careers, he has had one of the greatest careers in the history of the business, and you put mine over here, and if there's no connection with us, you're looking at mine and saying, "Damn, that's a pretty impressive career in its own right." So like I don't like. It doesn't bother me in the slightest for people to say, hey, for me to compare to Edge or say that Edge had a better career than you. Now, if they said somebody like Chris Jericho, I might have a problem with that, but not Edge.
Here's the 2 points that I've always looked at, and I could be wrong. I think we're the only tag team that actually became world champions on our own. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's the case. I'm not entirely sure.
Right.
But either way, we both did.
Right.
Even if other people did do it before. But and the fact that we were friends before this.
Right.
That was the huge aspect of it.
How did you feel when you went to the Hall of Fame?
Surprise.
Why?
I was like, already? I mean, yes, but man, it's a year after.
That is pretty quick.
It was quick,
Yeah.
you know. But I wasn't going to say no.
Right.
And then, you know, you get a call from Brett saying you deserve it. You get a call from Sean saying you deserve it.
Right.
It's going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
Why not?
Saying is thanks for the call.
So what did you think? You know, and now I tried to call collect. You kept saying no. Hey, I'm pretty cheap. I'm one of the cheapest guys in the history of the business. Ask Mick Foley. We used to travel together. What did you think when you heard the news that he was going to go in the Hall of Fame?
I was super excited for him.
Obviously, you inducted.
Yeah, no, I was over the moon for him, you know, and I think that if anybody deserved it, it was him.
Based on what you've done, do you feel like one day your name will be called to go into the Hall?
You know, I would like to think so, but that's not for me to say. And
Okay,
you know,
that's for you to say. Your thoughts on that?
Yes. Without a doubt. I mean, look at it sheerly on paper. How do you not?
Right.
You know? He's got to. So I'm petitioning right now.
starting the petition.
I'm going to start a petition. I'm going to get placards.
Christian for
Right.
Hashtag
Right.
Christian Hall of Fame,
Right.
and I'm gonna strike outside
Right.
of the building every
Let's
Monday.
start the strike right now. We're not going to leave the podcast set until.
I'm voting
Are you
no.
in?
No, I think you should be in too. I think you get the call. And we're gonna see how that shakes down, but it's a waiting process. But
Yeah.
Speaking of Hall of Famers, one of the guys who's
Maybe on a slow year I'll get in.
yeah, one of the guys.
Squeak in.
Speaking of Hall of Famers, who I think should be in the Hall of Fame is Michael PSAs,
Without a doubt.
and he was very instrumental in you guys' career. What was it about Michael that helped you, and what did he see in you guys as performers, as wrestlers?
I think he saw little Freebirds in us. I think
How so?
the rock and roll aspect.
Right.
The
Would you not agree with me that the Fabulous Freebirds should be in the Hall of Fame?
Oh,
without
Okay.
a doubt. Without a doubt. Trendsetters, groundbreakers.
look at that. Is that not a Hall of Famer right
Trailblazers.
there? Come on.
Dude, I'll tell you, I used to
Just
pay
for the
my
seats at
money
home,
when I was
that's all.
starving at North Texas State University playing football. Me and my buddies would drive down to the auditorium on Friday nights to get drunk and throw stuff at the wrestlers. You know, stuff that you don't like people to do to you. But he had a ton of heat. And Michael Hayes' entrance
had? He
is
still
worth
has a ton of heat.
it was worth the price of admission just by itself. He'd get up on that second turnbuckle and start gyrating. He had the platinum blonde hair.
moonwalk.
And then when it came time to get the heat, that's when he turned the mean streak on.
Yeah.
And he was nasty to begin with. Of course, you got Bam Bam Gordy in as the heater, and then you got Buddy Jack Roberts, who everybody thought you could kick his ass. If you could kick anybody's ass, you could kick Buddy Jack Roberts' ass. So they were just the premier, but they bonded because of the rock and roll.
But because of that aspect,
think-
but the most important, sort of cut you off, but the most important advice I've ever gotten is a heel has to believe what he's saying.
Right.
At some kernel of it, somewhere down in there,
And
there
that's
has
what he
to be,
told you?
Yep, and there has to be an element of truth in it to really annoy people because they go, he's got a point, but I hate the way he's telling me.
Right.
And fully commit to the entrance and fully commit to everything. If you do that, it's going to work. And he was hugely instrumental in those things. And he didn't.
I think going back to you saying what he saw in us was, and I think he said this in the past, that we weren't the prototype of what was going to be the top superstar in WWE at the time we came in.
Right.
But he saw in our eyes passion, and you know that's all we came here with was passion to be the best and to go as far as we could here. And he saw that right away. And from when he got to know us, he knew that we weren't going to settle for anything less than success. That's just the way it was.
And man, we could sit and pitch Michael anything.
And he would listen to us, yeah.
And he would give it an ear.
Right.
You know, which was huge.
As far as delivering promos and believing everything you say, going back to some of your rated R superstar work, some of those promos, dude, you were just a premier, paramount piece of garbage. I mean, the condescending tone, the delivery. I think it speaks to your range as an actor, and we'll get to that. But I wasn't here, but I heard you guys got called into a wrestler's court at one particular time in your career because y'all actually went to a head writer's house to have dinner.
That was fabricated.
Now, what in the F is this all about?
Well, first of all,
you're active talent and you're going to a head writer's house for dinner.
First of all, I think that part was added in just to get
to
the
bolster a case,
which wasn't
this reeks of a brown nose,
which wasn't true at all.
What happened?
We were brown nosers. That we were that we were.
Were y'all pitching ideas or what?
Well, we were pitching ideas, but we weren't doing it at anybody's house or going over to the parents' house for dinner or something like that. Was one of the things that I heard. But we were like, we kind of got tipped off that we were going to wrestler's court. So we were like, okay, that's cool, And we're like, how can we flip the script here? So we went in with a rock solid defense.
We came
and
prepared.
yeah.
Y'all did?
Yeah.
Finally, someone goes. Explain what wrestler's court is.
Wrestler's court is when someone will bring you up on charges.
One of the boys.
Yeah, you're going up against protocol, against etiquette.
Right.
And
Crossing the line.
crossing a line.
And so who was the judge? Was it Undertaker again?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And JBL was prosecutor.
Yeah.
JBL, tremendous prosecutor, and rotten at the same time.
And we had done something where
made
it
a
was
book.
time where people were getting a lot of book deals and stuff. That was
Right.
first happening. So I was like, we need to tell everybody that we have a book coming out. And we're just
Yeah.
here a couple of years, so everyone's going to be
Yeah.
super hot about it. So we had them doctor up a book cover and the whole thing, and we brought that in. It was like, just before this gets out of hand, we're just going to get this out in the open right now that we got a book deal.
Yeah.
And everyone's just like, you could see the faces turn
No,
being
didn't
red.
drop
And it was
in
like,
that place.
and we're like,
They bought the
so,
book.
they're like, look, we're going to give you guys free copies and we'll sign them. So there's no worry there. And then we
That's
held the
absurd.
book cover up, and it was Edge and Christian ass kissing, Our Road to the Top. That was the title of the book, and everybody just burst out laughing. And
So were you acquitted?
yeah, well, then we're like, we had to, try to get out of our sentence, and we try to buy ourselves. The judge can be bought.
Right.
So we kind of went above and beyond and thought, what are the things that Taker likes? So we went and we found this Harley Davidson shop somewhere. We got him this huge Harley Davidson coffee table book.
Yep.
Yeah.
We went. We got him a bunch of boxing championship DVDs with old time champions sitting around a table talking, stuff like that, just things like that. And we just put it in his room, and we just said our settlement is there.
We greased the wheels.
Yeah, and he walked out a little bit later, walked past, goes, I don't even think there's going to be a blemish on your record, boys. And he kept walking.
The only thing I was thinking is the Harley Davidson thing, or from back in the day, bottle of Jack Daniels, because he was
did
the
that
king.
too. That was in
with
there.
with Michael Hayes being a big influence on y'all's career, to another guy who was influential in y'all's career and who hired you, Vince McMahon. That was a guy that various parts of my career, man, I looked at. Sometimes he was a father figure, he was a brother, he was a mentor, he was a shrink. He was many things to me. And I always tell people I learned more in the years I worked with Vince McMahon than I did in the 5 years I was in college. Whether it's about life or just business or just awareness. But you got a call from Vince regarding your future, and this was the end of your career.
Yeah.
And he was the man that called you and said, Adam, you're done. Tell me about that phone call, because that's not a phone call anybody wants to get.
No. It kind of came out of left field, too. I knew something was going on. But
Why?
I was getting trembling in my hands and stuff, and I just felt...
Okay, but you felt the symptoms coming on. You knew you were in a bad situation, but you didn't feel the call coming.
No.
Okay.
And I didn't know it was that, to the extent of where it was. I didn't have any idea what was actually happening. And then, so I get the call, and I'm sitting on my deck, and, he said, this is the most difficult call I've ever had to make. And he said, your career's done. So I sat down.
And it's funny, when Vince calls you, he always likes to break the ice, and you talk about a little scuttlebutt, and then he hits you with the zinger.
I knew, though.
So
there was a tone.
So So how did you react?
I felt sorry for myself for a bit. I kind of wallowed my own self-pity for a little bit. I sat down. I called him right away. Just to kind of go, whoa, this is done now. Okay. All right. And then I just started wrapping my mind around it. Because I was already preparing myself. It was just faster than I thought.
But also, when you got that call, I remember in WrestleMania 19 with The Rock and getting that 3 count, when that referee hit that 3, I felt like a big weight had been lifted off my back, because I was in a bad situation. Did you feel that same weight being lifted off your back because you weren't going to be putting yourself in any more risk.
Yeah, yeah, and I knew I didn't have to make the decision. I didn't have to let anybody down. You know, because there's part of that with you. You know, you feel like you're letting somebody down. I didn't have to feel that.
But so what exactly did he say to you on the phone?
Your career's done. You can't wrestle again. This is what I've been told by the doctor. I want you to talk to him and get it from his mouth to your ears. But this is what I've been told. And I hate to have to tell you that, but I wanted to be the one to tell you that, which was huge. You know, to hear it from him, that was big.
Along the way in your career, what's the biggest thing you can take away from your relationship with Vince? And you'd be thinking, because I'm going to ask you the same thing.
Just how he looks at the world, honestly, and how he sees the world. He sees it.
Most competitive son-of-a-bitch I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, and he sees it in a different way, and then you start to see how he sees it, and you go, whoa, that's a pretty cool way to see it. But it's not for me. You know what I mean? And we've had the conversation where, like, sometimes I just go sit in the mountains. And I know he wants to be able to just go sit in the mountains.
Right.
He doesn't get a chance to.
Right.
So, I kind of feel bad for him in that respect, too.
Interesting. Because, man, I mean, I always ask him, man, you got any hobbies? I know he likes his motorcycles and stuff like that, but this business is his baby. What was your takeaway from Vince with all of your dealings with him? The biggest impact he had on you, or what you learned most from him?
Yeah, I think, obviously, it's his dedication to this, you know what I mean? Because it's 24/7, 365 days a year, and, you know, he obviously doesn't get much sleep. So I think that it's infectious, his work ethic and how hard he works, so that trickles down. And to me, I remember I had a conversation with him years ago. He probably doesn't even remember it, but I was in a bad place. We had just gone from tag to singles, and I was trying to find my footing, and I was just in quicksand. I just had no clue what I was doing at the time, and I couldn't figure it out. And I went and I sat with him, and I asked him, I was like, what do I need to do? And you know, he was giving me some pointers, and I said, man, I just want to be the best. And I could tell him by looking at me, and he kind of pumped me up a little bit, but realistically, you know, like I said, walking through the doors, I don't look like the guy, you know, but still gave me the platform to go out there and do what I do, and it took years, but eventually I became the world heavyweight champion, and that just doesn't happen, I don't think. So
let's talk exit strategy, because when I left and it was time for me to ride off in the sunset, I didn't have an exit strategy. I didn't have plan B. I didn't have a job lined up. I found the bottom of a lot of whiskey bottles, you know, and before I finally moved out to L.A. and transitioned into a little bit of acting and found my passion for the reality television genre. You just, with your Hall of Fame speech, you kind of got lucked into Haven and pursued acting. And you had done, what was the movie you had done prior to that, in about 2000?
I did Highlander, which was like a fight scene, and then I did a WWE movie, Bending the Rules.
Right. But once you got that phone call, it was like, hey, man, I need to start acting, or I know I saved some money. I'm very frugal. I don't live extravagantly. I can just chill.
That was it. I drive a Jeep. I'm good. You know, that was.
But why do so many of the boys have a problem with the exit strategy? Letting go and going on to something else.
I think sometimes wrestling is so all-encompassing that they truly start to become the character, and then when it's done, then what?
Right.
So part of the reason why I would say I'm Adam, good to meet you.
Right.
Because I'm Adam.
You always want people to know you're Adam.
Edge's character.
And talking about you, Christian, you left the Squared Circle, and then you did a cameo appearance on Edge's show.
Yeah, that kind
and
of
it got canceled.
Well, let's just say here. I went knowing that this was going to be.
This podcast getting canceled now.
No.
What happened?
Now you got me off. Thanks.
He's going to walk off and say, he's an actor.
No, we went into it knowing that it was going to be the last season shot. So they obviously brought me in to bump the ratings for last season. You know?
Hey, I always have told my end of the what story many times. And it was a phone call to you. This is back when you and I called each other. We don't call each other anymore. And so I left this voicemail. And so people have hated me ever since. They don't hate me, but they're annoyed by the what chant because it still exists to this day. All these years later.
People still ask me, do you still have the voicemail? I'm like, that was like 12 years ago.
Yeah. What were you thinking when you were listening to that BS message?
Well, it was funny because I said we always had this rapport, this kind of where we just banter ridiculous stuff back and forth. And I remember we landed in Chicago, and I think we were going to a show in Rockford, Illinois, so it was a drive. So we decided to go to that. At the time, it was a Bally's gym, and it was downstairs, so there was no phone reception down there. And you decided to head on to the next town. You were Steve Austin, the first guy in the building, the last guy to leave. So you were on your way.
Props.
And and I guess you were just trying to kill time, and you called me, and I remember I got out. I was like, voice message, like 6 minutes long. Like, hello? Listen, and it's like, Christian, where you at? I'm on my way to Rockford. What? I said I'm on my way to Rockford. Well, I'm passing a tree. What? I said I'm passing that tree. What? That's a pretty big tree. And it was like just like that. And I was like, what is he talking about? And I get to the building, I'm like, what was that? And you're like, I don't know. I was just kind of just. And then we just kind of started goofing around doing that sort of thing. And then like literally like 3-4 weeks later, I'm standing in the back getting ready, and all of a sudden I can hear your promo in the ring. I hear, what? I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe he's actually doing this. And you know what? He's going to get it over.
I picked a bad day to quit sniffing glue when I cut that promo on you. But when I was leaving that voicemail, I was like, I think I'm onto something here as a heel, because I started as a heel to get under people's skin. Keep going with me. All right, Twitter question here. No, before we get to the Twitter question, you guys, we're about to run out of time, but you've got to tell me the Ice Road Trucker story. What happened?
So we're driving across the lake. We're God's Lake Narrows.
This is like working up in Canada or what?
Northern Manitoba, like as cold as you can get. So it's just the seasons are changing from winter to spring, and we finished the show, and we were so far away from Winnipeg, which was the biggest city. So we talked to Pona, we're like, we just need to get back to the city. Like we'll take turns driving, we'll do it on shifts. And he's like, no, I don't think it's a good idea. We're like, we're literally driving down roads that were just snow plowed away from a field in between trees, and in the summertime when everything melts, you can't drive over the ice anymore. You have to take boats. So we're driving, and Adam took the first shift, and all of a sudden everybody's sleeping, and it was probably 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. We hear, and brake slam on. We wake up and we look at the light. You can just see the water kind of glistening in the night through the headlights, because there's obviously no street lights or anything, just the light of the moon and the headlights. And so we get out, and the little Italian promoter, Tony Condello, he goes and gets a post from the ring van, and he goes over and he starts putting it down, and he's like, no, just the top layer is thawed out. There's still good ice underneath, and we're like, we're not driving over that thing, and like so, we all get, it's freezing, right? So we all jump in the van, and as we're all talking, trying to figure out a strategy, he just guns it, and we ramp off of this ice into the water, and we're all just like, wow, screaming, it's like something out of a movie. And we just look out, and you just see water from the wheels are spinning, the water is just flying like 25, 30 feet in the air, and finally just inching, we get across. So then we're like, oh my God, we're alive, like we made it. And then we look over, and the ring van turns and decides to go a different route where they see just dry ice. So they drive over it. Just the top layer was there. They drop to the frame into the ice. So now we're stuck in the middle of nowhere. Not everybody can fit in the van, and we can't leave everybody behind, or there will be, won't be good.
And this is where Get the Rhino came from.
Yeah. So we
got the Rhino.
So we go back, and we're all trying to rock this boat. We're trying to rock the van out of there, and we're like, I'm trying to back up, trying to get the light of the moon just so I can see, what we're working with here. And all of a sudden I hear crack, and I drop. So I put my arms out. I stop myself, and I'm like, oh my God, he comes around. What's going on? I'm trying to claw myself out. He pulls me out of the water. The pants froze to my legs. He's like, everyone's like, you'll get frostbite. Go to the other van and just sit in there. So I go in, and Rhino, he's going to hate me for telling this, but he's sitting in the van crying. And we're like, what are you doing? He's like, I don't want to die. Just leave that stuff. Just leave it here. And then so we're like, look, you're the strongest dude here.
Yeah.
We need you out there. Yeah, so he went out. Literally, that thing was out of there in the next 3 minutes. Yeah. And we hit the bricks.
Yeah, he went Shemp looking for cheese. Man. Yeah. He was just like, rah, and out. So
get the Rhino. Yeah. But before we leave, what's the biggest regret you have your time at WWE? I walked away from the company. A real stupid thing about doing a JOB. Before we have to wrap this thing up, your biggest regret?
I don't.
No regrets?
Nope.
Nothing?
Nope. Present tense, man. I don't think back. It was all good. I got nothing to complain about. I retired at 37 years old.
With you and the farm animal.
I don't regret it.
Okay. Cage closed. Christian, any regrets? Biggest regret here in WWE?
I regret doing this podcast.
I regret asking you. I regret putting that stupid hat on playing this ukulele.
No,
You
no
want to talk regrets?
Yeah, no regrets.
Don't play the kazoo.
I mean, honestly, I probably I probably went as further than I ever had any business going, and I don't have any regrets either. Same way, none.
How do you guys want to be remembered?
Remembered? Doesn't really matter to me. I mean, if kids look back with fond memories, like I think of Demolition, the Heart Foundation, the British Bulldogs, or Steamboat, or Bob Orton, or those guys, if kids growing up or guys in their 20s now have those same fond memories, mission accomplished.
What about you?
I would like to be remembered as being better than Edge.
Wow, that's a turn.
Better than that.
Okay.
No, just as a honestly, that no matter how many people were in the stands, I was a guy that went out there and gave them their money's worth every single night, and they knew they were going to get that with me. So
I was on several cars where you guys went out there and purposely stunk out the joint. Damn near killed the territory. All right, I'm kidding with you. How did the 5-second pose come about?
I don't honestly remember the genesis of it, but it had to have come from one of the spitball sessions with Brian.
it did. And,
Oh, well, y'all
yeah,
were
it was
just
what
out
happened
eating
was
dinner,
is
Brett
that
knows.
dinner.
We were
Yeah.
trying to get a push.
Yeah, we were, and I think it was after his mom passed the matzo balls over the
The matzo ball soup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so we were just brainstorming, and this when we were coming through the crowd, and we're like, it was a tough thing to do to go up there and go down through the crowd to try to get your way down there. So we came up with this plan now that we had kind of turned heel that we were too good for the fans. We didn't want them near us. We didn't want them to touch us. But being the nice guys we were, we'd pose for them for 5 seconds, give them their camera time. And somebody just randomly said, "What about flash photography?" We're like, "Flash photography, is that a thing?" They're like, "Well, I don't know." We're like, "Well, we're using it." So that's kind of how it happened.
It is now.
Yeah.
Or but is those type of shenanigans that help you guys get to the level that you got to?
Right.
Yeah. We had fun, but we knew when the time was right to get our heat, we had to be vicious.
We find out what's going on in every town current, and we do a little some other baseball team, football team, or whatever it was, and we'd kind of make it part of the show.
All right, Ed, my last request for you guys, I'm Stone Cold Steve Austin, the toughest SOB to ever lace up a pair of boots here in the WWE, but I would like to participate with you guys in a 5-second pose as we go off the air.
Is that a fact?
Would you grant me this illustrious wish?
Will you put that hat on?
No, I'm done with that.
We can
5-second
Let's do
pose?
it. Let's do
All
it.
How do you do a 5-second pose?
Well, thumbs in.
Oh,
Thumbs got to be in.
oh, thumb one.
Because I can break them. Yeah, I can break them. I'm loose this,
Hey, look
man.
at me. Don't look at me.
Ah! How long?
All around the universe, people are seeing this, and we are out. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Edge, and Kristen